There we go.
Hello everyone, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. And to begin with, do not go anywhere, even if you were expecting this to be the actual episode. The way we label our videos is just to make it easier to find our videos. So this is actually a review on the Rick and Morty episode, the Whirly Conspiracy, which that actually is a interesting name, all things considered, and it ties in very well with the episode. This was a Rick and Jerry episode. And of course, Morty, Beth, and Summer were part of it, and like another ongoing storyline there.
Yeah, everybody was involved.
Yeah, everybody was in it, but this was more or less a
Rick and Jerry thing.
Yeah, Rick and Jerry episode. So, now this is like, there's really no way to talk about the other episode without me sounding like kind of a creeper, but or like, you know, the other storyline. But anyway, like, Jerry is asleep in the hotel. You know, he's like off by himself and everything, and you know, Rick immediately busts in the middle of the night, pulls him out of bed. Like naked, like doesn't even give him pants, which is pretty dang funny.
He's like, I'll make you pants on the way. And he's like, no.
Yeah. And takes him to like this restaurant that has a like an immortality field where inside the restaurant, like there's basically a force field around it that makes it to where you're immortal. And you can get shot in the head, you can get crushed, you can whatever, you will pop back to normal. Cannot die.
Yes.
And so, I guess now would be the time to say spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen the episode. It's probably not.
They show up to this place and like immediately, Rick starts fighting with this alien person, and then
I forgot all about that. Like the first opening scene in this restaurant. Yeah, like the alien comes up and is like, Rick, I told you, you know, if we ever caught you here, I'd kill you or something like that. And, oh yeah, the Eclipse.
The Eclipse.
I forgot. Yeah, I actually forgot to mention the Eclipse was today.
Probably should have done a video.
Yeah.
Video and everything else. I guess we probably should have done that too.
We probably should have done some kind of Eclipse summary.
Posting Eclipse memes on the page today.
Yeah, but
so
I mean,
that's about
it. It's really hard to actually video or photograph an eclipse with an iPhone. I tried, and it sucked. I was actually able...
I got some okay pictures with my phone.
Well, I mean, you're just taking... It doesn't matter if the sun is like 90% covered. Even if you try to take a picture with your phone, it still looks like a full sun.
Well, if you put the glasses over the lens...
And I did get a little orange crescent, but that was it.
I mean, that's about the extent of it. I mean, and that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime picture, so...
Touché. Okay.
Anyway.
On to the episode. It was pretty funny because at the very beginning of the episode, you know, when they arrive at the place, this alien walks up and just throws a spear right through Rick's heart. And it's like, you know, Rick, I told you if you ever showed your face in here again, I'd kill you. And Rick busts a bottle and jabs it into the side of the guy's throat.
Yes. And
he's like, I told you there'd be 2 funerals. And like, you're just sitting there and I'm like, holy crap.
Yes.
And like, I knew, you know, Rick wasn't going to die, but I was thinking maybe a clone or something. And then, you know, lo and behold, it ends up being a, like an immortality field, which was freaking hilarious.
It was.
Because you've actually got these kids running around shooting each other. And like, you know, they'll fall over dead, pop right back up. That comes into play a little later in the episode. But Rick goes to the bathroom. Like, this was another one of those, this has got to be the most emotionally deep season. We've talked about it before, the last couple of episodes. But you really get to explore how Rick and Jerry really feel about each other. Because Rick blames Jerry for basically dragging his daughter down, getting her pregnant in high school, and, you know, completely, he was like, oh, she was the daughter of Rick, she could have been anything, and then you came along and knocked her up.
And she felt pity.
Yeah, and then she felt pity on you and stayed with you. And so, Yeah, like he ends up doing that, and then, you know, of course, Jerry blames Rick for coming in, you know, a couple of years ago and just completely destroying his family life, which we discussed that. They did have problems before then, and it just really took Rick, was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Drawing with Stego says it's only going to be here another 3 more minutes. It's almost time to go to bed. We do tend to do most of our streams after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, most of the time.
Anyway.
But yeah, they so they end up having this back and forth, and so Jerry, they actually start to get along. You know, they're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good time, because the reason Rick has taken him out is, you know, basically Morty is afraid that his dad is going to kill himself because life is going so crappy, and Rick wants to take him out for like a win adventure is basically what he says. And so they go. And, you know, this happens. Jerry goes off by himself to go to the bathroom, and he gets pulled through a vent. And, like, the owner of the restaurant's like, hey, you know, I need you to kill Rick, or help us kill Rick. And there's, like, a roller coaster that you can take, and part of it goes just outside the force field, and we could kill Rick. But then Rick and Jerry own the roller coaster, because Jerry's going to have him killed. And on the roller coaster, they kind of bond a little, and Jerry feels guilty. Do you think Rick it almost looked like Rick had no clue until the shot was fired.
Yeah, because he was suspicious, but he wasn't really sure what was going on.
Yeah,
he was just going to go with it. He was just going to go with it.
I think part of it was he never in a million years figured Jerry would have the ability to pull something like that off.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe he just doesn't have the balls to go through with it.
That's what it is.
And that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
I guess, you know, he felt guilty about, setting Rick up. So this guy, like, he actually takes a shot in the head. Of course, you know, he comes back, Jerry does. And there's, like, this whole battle ensues. And next thing you know, like,
Jerry's
they actually...
like, hey, this spot, you can kill it.
Yeah. And so as they jump...
Jerry.
outside of the force field, Rick snaps the guy's neck, the assassin, and they go tumbling through the woods, like outside, and they end up destroying the immortality field. And as soon as they do, the kids that are running around shooting each other, these little alien kids, like the boy shoots the sister, I guess, and like she falls over dead and doesn't get back up, so she's dead. She's dead.
Yes.
Which I thought was pretty hilarious.
It was like pretty hilarious.
It was like dark, but it was funny. And that's really what Rick and Morty is.
Yeah,
dark humor. Yeah. Hilarious. Sick, but funny.
It's not for everyone, but
yeah, it really is. And I've showed Rick and Morty to people, and some people absolutely love it. And then some people are like,
I can't.
This is far beyond what I can deal with. Like literally disturbed, bothered by some of the humor. All right. See you later, Drawing with Stego. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And hopefully see you tomorrow, depending on what our programming schedule looks like. But they end up, off in the woods, and Jerry ends up getting eaten by this like caterpillar with sharp teeth or whatever. And Rick ends up cutting him out of it, and he ended up needing like the bile from the inside of this giant worm. But while Jerry's getting eaten, they really just have a back and forth. Like Jerry just thinks he's on the verge of death, and he just lets Rick verbally have it. And it's crazy because, I mean, you really, like that's, I guess with his dying words, he wants to just let Rick know what he really thinks of him.
Yeah.
And I think in a way, do you think in a way this episode, Rick gained some respect for Jerry? In a way.
I don't know if he gained respect or if Jerry actually evolved as a person. I think that's more what happened, and Rick is like, I think Rick did him a favor, really.
You think it'll end up affecting his character in a positive sense?
Yes.
Going forward. True. Well, anyway, through all of the stuff that they, go on, and then they end up on this ship, and which turns into one of the weirdest scenes where, like, they go through the wormhole.
Oh, that scene was amazing.
And it reminded me, have you seen the ending to 2001 A Space Odyssey?
No.
It kind of it was just psychedelic, weird symbolism. I can't really explain it. Like, there's a part where, like, Rick and Jerry are like a lion and a gazelle, and they're like fighting each other, and then like suddenly they're naked humans, and then they're the lion and the prey again, and it goes back and forth, and then like it shows Jerry and his eyes are clocks, and
it's typical adult cartoon trip.
It was like one of the
that's what it is.
Craziest, like, drug, acid, LSD, everything put together trips you could imagine. And they almost, like, basically what they said is their spirits all bonded. Rick, Jerry, and then this assassin who's coming after them.
Yes.
And it was really, like, I'm sure if you, like, look at YouTube, you could probably find just that scene. I think I actually saw it while I was looking for the episode. But, again, like, thumbs down to Adult Swim for not offering this.
Yes, but let's not even go.
Yeah, I know, but I hate it that they don't offer it for free like they did the first 3 episodes. You can make money with ad revenue on this, just whatever. Off my soapbox. But, anyway, they end up back home, and Jerry, you can kind of tell he has kind of grown from the experience. And, Rick's like, oh, this will end up, making you stronger, and you'll be able to, handle yourself better and everything. And he's like, all right, see you later, man. And, like, he goes inside, and, like, immediately, like, this laser shield comes down over the front door with, like, this little...
the reason that happened, though, is because
Jerry started to revert.
Yeah. He started to revert because he left his bus pass.
And his wallet.
And he was like, oh, sorry.
That was great.
Was.
But, yeah, I mean, really funny episode. The side story with this, and one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, was Beth was making a horse hoof collage.
Sculpture.
And it was basically a horse made out of real
horse hooves.
Dead horse hooves. And, like, the tail was, like, part of a leg. And I was like, ugh. I don't even know really what to think of it. That was...
It was, especially because, like, other than the leg, the hooves were hollowed out. I don't know if you noticed that. They were completely hollowed out. It was just the cover of the hood. It was very weird.
I wasn't really paying much attention.
But, I mean, she's going through some shit. I mean...
Yeah, and, like, Morty is just utterly fascinated. He's, like, asking her questions, like, so, can you just, like, walk out of the veterinarian's office?
I wouldn't call it fascinated. I would call it concerned and trying to get her to realize what she's doing is really not something she should be.
It almost seems like Morty is suddenly becoming the voice of reason in the family, which is kind of messed up. That shows you how screwed up things are when Morty is the voice of reason in the family. But what ends up happening, and this is weird, like, I don't want to sound weird about this, but Summer, at the beginning of this, is really concerned that a guy she likes ends up turning her down and goes out with a woman with larger breasts. And I swear to you, I didn't say anything, but as she's walking around and she asks her mom, am I attractive or whatever, my first thought was, I was like, Summer doesn't have a lot of things going for her, but she has a good sized set of breasts on her.
Yeah, she's not ugly by any means.
Well,
I don't think she
here's
is.
the thing. She's not ugly. Like, on the surface, I would say Summer is not ugly. But somebody online, curse their names, pointed out that Summer has Jerry's face.
Well, that happens sometimes when...
And I know, but that just really creeped me out. And now I just think of her as like Jerry with a woman's body. And that's kind of weird. But I did. I gave her credit right at the beginning of that episode. And the first thing she does is go break into Rick's place in the garage and
look for something to try and enlarge her breast.
And she zaps herself and like makes one bigger and then the other one bigger. And she's like, no, we need a little bit bigger. But it makes it a lot bigger. And then she hits the other one. Next thing you know, it does her arm, and then her head, and then her leg. And
yes, she hit the other one, but then she moved, and then...
Yeah, it just totally went crazy. Next thing you know, she's so big, she's filled the garage. Morty and Beth have to run out there and hit like the normalize button, and when it does, it turns her into like a 50-foot tall giant.
Yes.
And then they hit the reverse button, and when they do, it turns her inside out.
Oh my
and she's like muscle mass and stuff walking around. And so she ends up running off to camp. And it was funny because Morty just totally like flipped his shit during this scene, because there's like a neighbor is like, while Morty and his mom are yelling at each other, the neighbor peeks over the fence and is like, hey, everything okay over here? And he's like, beep, 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 beep.
Mind your
yeah. Business. And I was like, wow, okay, Morty just...
Because he was just tired of his mom. His mom wants to try to handle things.
And doing a horrible job of
Rick. Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, she was like absolutely horrible. But they end up going and finding her, and she goes to like this camp where the guy that she likes is with the woman that Summer was turned down for. And she like shows up. Well, then her mom shows up, and she's giant and inside out. And they get to talking. Well, then, Morty has this talk with the guy after the woman leaves, and it was really weird stuff. But everybody ends up getting turned back to normal right about the time, and they get to go back home right about the time Jerry and Rick pop back up, and that's where the episode ends. One really little kind of side note that I thought was funny. Oh my god. To me, it was the funniest part of the entire episode. And you probably noticed because I laughed till I damn near cried. And it was where they have this machine that had turned Summer big and all the other crap. Well, Beth decides it's going to be a good idea to call the 800 number, the customer service. And so it shows, the customer service guys, like 3 of them, little alien dudes, and they're like talking at a desk and everything. And he was like, okay, there's like a little compartment on the side of the machine. And she was like, okay, I see it. And he's like, you see that? Yeah. And so she's on the phone with him, and the guy's like, okay, there's like a red button above the compartment. He's like, I just need you to hit that. And so she hits it, and she was like, okay. And so the trap pops open, and come to find out, the customer service guys were actually little miniature dudes inside the machine. And they're like, we're free! And they just go running out. And that's the end of it. And they're like, well, what happened? And, she has no clue that, her customer service people were actually inside the machine and just escaped. And, God almighty, when they ran out, I just about choked. Because that was funny.
That was funny.
That was, to me, that was the funniest scene in the entire episode. I don't know why. That was just one of those ones that really just struck me as hilarious, and I couldn't quit.
It was pretty funny.
But they did a follow-up to that in the after credits scene. Spoiler alert. Even though I don't think this will ever really tie into anything down the road. The 3 dudes, they're like sitting on like the bank of a creek that's like next to a bridge, and they're like, yeah, we're enjoying our retirement, and everything's going good and everything. And then suddenly this hawk swoops down and picks one of them up and carries them off.
They're like, ah!
And that's the way the episode ends. And I'm like,
that's funny.
Wow.
It was hilarious.
But so, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate this episode?
No, this is a 10. I think this was the best episode so far.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It had some emotional stuff.
But it was also really funny.
I'll give this episode a 9.5. And to me, I'd say this one's right behind last week's.
Nah.
Because I really liked... I don't know. I mean, it's really... They're
last week's was okay.
They're really
I don't think it was
getting...
as good.
Like I said, they're getting emotionally deep.
I really don't think... to me, last week was like about a 7. I really... That's one of those episodes I could easily skip over.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there was more comedy in last episode, but maybe this one...
Yeah.
Maybe this one keeps you more. Now, keep in mind, we watched this episode literally 15 minutes ago. It ended. Or 20 minutes ago, as evidenced by our timer there. But yeah, this was an amazing episode to me. Amber liked it a little, you liked it more than I did. But like I said, it just, I don't know, to me it was lacking just a little bit. Just enough for that half a point.
Okay, but how was it lacking? Explain yourself.
The subplot with Beth, Morty, and Summer.
That was hilarious.
That was like the one, I mean, aside from the little scene that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was almost like it was just thrown together for throwing together's sake. Like, I don't think it really had, aside from her just going off the deep end and making the hoof collage, I don't think it really added anything to the narrative. And it was worth half a point.
You don't think it added to the narrative, but her and Morty yeah.
This was really the first real confrontation.
Yeah.
But
like, they really worked through some stuff right there.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell me it didn't add to narrative? Whatever.
Not enough. It was, like I said, I just...
Whatever.
Maybe it did, but I wasn't entertained.
You're just picky. Whatever.
I wasn't entertained. Look, I'm taking away half a point.
But you're saying last episode was better?
Yeah.
No. Whatever.
Between Noob Noob and all the different levels and all the guys getting killed.
Noob Noob is why I gave that episode a 7. To give me a break right now.
I don't know. I really do. Like, if I could go back and I had to pick one or the other, I would watch last episode.
Last episode was kind of mocking Guardians of the Galaxy, and if they were going to mock it, they should have mocked it better. Seriously.
I will say, like, moving on a little bit, I will say that next episode, I think, is going to be amazing. Because next episode is that clip that I showed you where they are only going to do a 20-minute trip and it ends up being 6 days and they just completely lose it. Yeah. It's going to be good.
I hope so.
I cannot wait till next week. Okay. Matter of fact, next Sunday is going to be epic.
Oh, Lord.
On so many levels. We're going to have that episode of Rick and Morty and the season finale of Game of Thrones. So, whew.
Sure enough.
We also have been confirmed that we will be at Connuga next year, 2018, and we're going to try to put together some programming, do a couple of panels, and keep in mind you can enter to win our September Loot Crate, which they just announced the theme is going to be robotic. It's going to have, I think, Blade Runner, Alien.
What was the other one?
Can't remember.
You sent me the picture and I don't remember.
Blade Runner.
Aliens.
Alien and...
something else.
That would be... Come on. Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Mirror Universe. What the hell is Mirror Universe?
I don't know.
I'm going to look at that real quick.
Okay.
But, anyway... Star Trek Mirror Universe is a fictional parallel universe in which the plots of several Star Trek television episodes take place. It resembles the fictional universe in which the Star Trek TV series, but is separate from the main universe.
Huh.
So, I guess... whatever. I don't know. Weirdness. I'm completely. I don't like. I mean, I like Star Trek, but I don't like it enough to know what the hell the Mirror Universe is. Not a big Blade Runner fan, and Aliens. I like Aliens. I don't know. We'll see.
Especially facehuggers.
But anyway, we'll do a separate video on the Loot Crate giveaway. But like I said, this is a pretty good episode. Amber liked it a little bit better than I did. I thought it was lacking just enough to lose half a point, which is still an amazing episode. Just give me that.
No,
but anyway,
your reasoning was lame. So
okay. Well, this has been the Rick and Morty season 3. I don't even remember. Maybe episode 6, maybe 5, 6, something like that.
No.
Review of the episode, the Whirly conspiracy, and speaking of the Whirly was the roller coaster that they got on that went just outside of the immortality field that we talked about earlier in this review. This has been our live review of the latest Rick and Morty episode. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amber.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. Drop by and see them day after tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. Lots of good stuff coming out. And also remember UNN Live Thursday night. And September 8th through the 10th, we are going to be at Wizard World Nashville. And they just announced today that Stan Lee is going to be there. And unfortunately, it's going to be VIP only, so I'm not going to get to go meet him again. So, but anyway, come see us at Wizard World, and we'll see everyone probably tomorrow for a live stream. Everybody, thanks for watching, and have a good night.